Hello my friends on YouTube. Today I was planning to do a particular subject. However, there are a few things, or actually rather two things came on the news that I would like to discuss them with you. Uh, China has a big Muslim community there. It's called Uyghur. Uyghur, I'm sorry, the Uyghur. And that's okay. They also have Christian. I believe also they have Jews. Okay, why am I talking specifically about the Muslims? The reason is China have put about 1 million, according to what came on the news on BBC Arabic, about 1 million Muslim in prison. Although I'm not very big fan of China or Chinese system, because it's communist dictatorial system. However, the Islamic Caliphate system is not any better. Let's put it this way. They are both dictatorial systems. So in terms of the communist, the top leader, he is in charge of everything, and everybody has to say yes sir and follow. If you don't, you are dead. Same thing in Islam. The Caliphate, nobody should disobey him or discuss anything with him, even if he beats you up, if he whip your back. There's hadith that it says that clearly. You obey your master, even if he whips your back. So we have two systems. Actually, we can say two evil systems now are clashing with one another. I am not fan of the communist system, but I'm also very anti-Islamic system. And I see both of them as they have a lot in common. They are actually, each one, they believe or they want to apply government controls everybody. And the government basically is the man on top. And he has few assistants, and these assistants, they have to follow his words to the letter. And if you examine especially the Caliphate system in Islamic tradition, they are pretty much the same. So communism and Islam are practically one, and the only difference is Muhammad gave the Muslim the illusion that there is an imaginary God he made of his own, like in his own image, is a figment of his own imagination. But basically the ideology in its essence is very much the same. So although I believe in freedom of speech, because with it comes freedom of religion. If you are thinking you could choose to have a religion or not to have a religion, you are free to do so. So freedom of speech is very important for me. Now I have the freedom to stand here and to sit here and speak to you what's in my head. You could listen, you could object, you could reject. You are free. So that's the free system, free society. However, this is not found in neither communism or Islam. And it looks like they came to clash with one another now. And we don't know what's the outcome, because the communist system, Also the Muslim. When they put somebody in prison for they call it re-education. Practically, it's brainwashing the people, forcing them to accept the communist ideology, and the same thing is practiced by Islam. The thing is that got me to think about that is uh, this is very dangerous, and the reason is Muhammad told them that they are the best of people, so they like to stand high on top, literally and figuratively, and sort out people. You are Christian, you are dhimmi, you are infidel, you are lost, you are. They give everyone a name. They sort people out according to what Muhammad told them. Now, they don't have the upper hand here in China, but as they are doing in the Western countries. In the Western countries, they are using democracy to their advantage, to the Muslims' advantage. So they are always playing the victim mentality, the victim role of a person. So they are always saying, "Oh, we don't have enough. We don't have our rights. We were persecuted. We are this or that." Like the the victimhood mentality. So people will actually feel sorry for them, and they give them more. And once there is equality in number, then it is no longer the victim. You say what we say, you do what we say, or you are dead. That's basically it has been all throughout history. And China is not stupid. The Chinese authority, I don't think they're ignorant of that fact. They know. They know. And that's why they do not want to allow this to happen. Because you give them an inch, they will take a meter or 100 meters. Okay? Or they will take a mile. So China, it looks like they know their tactic. So just slam them in jail and brainwash them and let them suffer. And with suffering, when they are in jail, they can reflect. And I'm sure they will explain to them that there's not much difference between what China is doing and what Islam is advocating. Some people may say this is wrong. Yes, it is wrong. It is wrong. But really, when you look at it from a far perspective, there was a book actually, it was written by Newt Gingrich, and it was called The Rape of Nanking. I think I read it about 7-8 years ago. Anyway, to my surprise, in this book, because many people actually speak about America dropping the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki at the end of World War II, on Japan to end the war. And many, especially left mentality people, they use that as how evil to explain and to show how evil America is. Reality is, after the dropping of these two bombs, the Japanese top generals, believe it or not, according to Newt Gingrich, and I don't think he will lie, because that's a book, he's a historian, so he was stating facts. The Japanese generals actually thank the American forces for doing that. And the reason was they were, if you know the Japanese culture, they wouldn't give up. And if you study the history of World War II, and the battles that took place in the Pacific Ocean to control certain islands like Midway and all these small islands, and the casualty that fell from both sides. It is horrific number, but they needed to control these islands, and the Japanese were occupying these islands. So to get rid of the Japanese and for the American forces to take control of these islands, they suffer tremendous losses, because the Japanese, they are do or die. Like they can't stop. They are programmed to fight to death, to the death. So imagine the Japanese generals, they know that if America did not use the atomic bombs, then the American forces had to invade. To stop the war, they had to invade the main islands of Japan. And to do that, imagine the heavy casualty that it was inflicted on both sides in these tiny islands. Imagine on the main islands where the population lived. And the estimated horrific number of deaths between the two forces, the Japanese and the Americans, would be, it will exceed 1 million casualty. Whereas in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, I think it was like 20,000. Well, nobody really is saying killing people, even one person, is good, but in comparison, it saved life in a way. It saved lives, the use of the atomic bombs. So why am I saying that? Because for China to do that, to put about 1 million Muslims in jails and reprogram them, they are programmed, so they are actually programming them on a different subject or in a different way. It seems to be evil, which it is, I agree, but it's lesser evil than Islam, right? There is a similar situation that took place also in the year 1989 with in Tiananmen Square in China, when the students wanted to bring freedom to China and take over, to turn the government, and then the military went on the streets and started shooting people, killing them, killing students, literally. And at this moment, 1989, I felt this is terrible. But actually, when you know that China is over 1 billion people, and for a big country like that to collapse, and the Chinese not necessarily the most moral or the highest people on morality, you could expect people will slaughter one another for a nickel, for a piece of bread. They will literally slaughter each other for that. So in a way, even though many students were killed 1989 on that incident in Tiananmen Square, nevertheless, it actually saved many Chinese lives. I'm not advocating any killing, but I'm just making the point. Now, the second thing I read, it's about the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia who fooled everybody. I was really hesitant with him in the beginning, but when I saw the changes, I thought, yeah, well, he's a good guy. Looks like he's doing well. And he, to say the truth, he did few good things, like allowing women to drive, they can go to stadium, they can vote, they can do this and that, so many things. So I thought he would continue like that. But then, surprise, you read that you will get 5 years in prison, 5 years in prison, and $800,000 fine if you criticize the system, of course, including the crown prince. You can criticize his opponents, but not him. All right? You can't criticize the system. So what I'm doing here can get me 5 years in prison and $800,000 fine. Either, well, they say either or, but in my case, probably I'll get the two of them. The second thing is you will get the same thing, 5 years in prison or $800,000 fine if you criticize religion. Okay, religion, and they leave it open. So like that, you say, oh, you see, they respect Buddhist, Hindu, Christian, Jews, Muslim, everybody. But reality is, there's only one religion in Saudi Arabia. So if you're going to criticize, actually, they don't care. Many people, they criticize Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, Hinduism. I remember there was a guy who painted Jesus submerged in urine. Of course, many people were not happy about it, but nobody told him to, you are supposed to go to prison for 5 years. No, it's freedom of expression. Many people didn't like it, but hey, that's his opinion, that's his viewpoint. Fine. I mean, it's not fine, but you're free to express yourself. All right? Saudi Arabia didn't say anything about that because they really don't care about other religions. They care about criticizing Islam, and the reason is they know if somebody pokes a small hole in that religion, it will unravel like there is no tomorrow. So they are so afraid of that criticism. Somebody, which many people are doing, this is really stupid. This is really stupid to continue on that path. Huh? And they actually have many writers, Muslim clerks who studied on their own, and they came to the conclusion that this is nonsense, and they are really speaking out about the troubling things in Islam, and therefore they are put in jail. They are put in jail, and the United Nations is calling the Saudi government to free these people, because you can't put a person in jail merely because he is expressing his opinion. But in Saudi Arabia, also in China, you can go to jail if you express your opinion. You can express your opinion only if it matches the leader and the system. Okay? The third thing you can go to jail for is if you violate the moral code, as if, all that cover up. And if you really look at it carefully, why do women in these countries cover up? It is not because of morality. It's actually rather the opposite. It's because of immorality. Because men in these countries are sexually out of control. Literally. So the man is afraid if he sees a woman's foot, never mind leg, foot, he will get excited. He cannot control himself sexually. So if he sees her wearing blouse and kind of like It's normal that woman has breasts, and it shows even if she's wearing a blouse. It shows that she has curves. That's her breast. And if he sees that, the Muslim person, he gets out of control sexually. So they have to put this black garbage bag on them. They call it abaya. To kind of like make her look like literally like covered in a garbage bag, and he can tell even if she has breasts or not, because he doesn't want to get excited. Alright? The same thing, he doesn't want to see her eyes. Why? It stimulates him. He cannot control himself. That's why they have this cover up. It's actually, it seems to be moral standard, whereas it is actually not to expose the loose, immoral man in the Islamic countries, specifically in Saudi Arabia. So it's a sick mentality, sick teaching, sick religion, and now the United Nations are calling. And although I'm not really a big fan of the United Nations, I have my reservation about the United Nations. However, in this point, probably they have a point. They are calling Saudi Arabia to free these writers, because writers, that's their weapon, the pen. The pen. They speak. They have to speak freely. They have to write freely. So you put them in jail. Some people are 1 year in jail since last September, and some writers, some Muslim clerks, but really Muslim clerks who are criticizing Islam and saying this is nonsense, they are put in jail. And uh, women who are calling for their rights, they are also in jail. And the United Nations is calling for their freedom. So I thought these were very good subject to inform, especially the Western people, about what's happening in Saudi Arabia now and in the Muslim countries. I hope this can help you, and thank you very much, and we see you soon.